Welcome to DeTalks with Allison.
Oh shit, we're recording.
You are the best podcast naming person.
This is the show where we sit down with comedians and other funny people, make them take their vitamins, and ask them about their life or whatever else we get into.
Let's hope Charlie got it right this time. Hi everyone, welcome to DeTalks with Allison. Bill Dawes is in the house.
Hi, good to see you, Allison. I'm so happy to be here with my IV.
Yeah.
I got stuck in the first one.
Your
My
veins just decided to...
I used to have like such great like those veins that would just pop out.
Yeah.
Like the Rock.
Yeah.
But now
Rocky
old
thought he had
dehydrate.
rock veins, and then he just didn't. He also had the
Oh,
same
really?
thing. She like couldn't find one on one side. But yeah, you were the first guest that like didn't freak out when I was like, no, I was very serious that we have vitamin IVs and you can get one. You were the first one that was excited about it.
But other people have had IVs on the show, right?
Yeah. A couple other people did, but they were just like, oh, I thought that was a joke. I was like, no.
When you mentioned that, I was like, for sure I'm doing it. I want to do it every week now.
Yeah.
I want to be a co-host.
Yeah, it's great. Bill Dawes, the new co-host. Yeah, we're here at MSW Vitamin Lounge getting these IVs.
I feel like it's taking away my edge. I don't feel like hateful and angry right now because I'm so mellow because of magnesium.
I gave you the feel good, so you're just chilling out.
Just chilling, man.
Yeah, I was like, I want everyone to feel high on vitamins when they come to this.
All right.
Awesome. Well, you just moved to Austin.
I did. I moved to Cedar Park.
Okay.
As I joke, which sometimes work. I said I moved inside a super Target.
Yep.
Because basically my place is just surrounded by strip malls.
Yeah, that's
like
what
north
Cedar
of
Park
Austin is just nothing but strip malls. Home Depots and Kohl's and Targets.
Yeah. I don't think people understand that because, like, especially when you leave Austin proper, all of the suburbs have bled into Austin now.
Yeah.
You just notice that it's not Austin anymore because it's all strip malls that have been built in the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you kind of hate it, but then you kind of love it too.
Yeah, it's like everything's right here.
There. Yeah, exactly.
Do you like it so far?
I haven't really explored Austin. Like, I know there's a lot of, I don't know, this mic is like moving back
Oh, I
and
think your
forth.
chair's on top of it.
I know there's like a lot
stand
of
being
like,
weird.
There's a lot of
There we go.
There's a lot of stuff going on here. Like there's nature and shit.
Should
I haven't seen the bats yet or anything.
Oh yeah. They come out of Congress Bridge, but you're also you're in Cedar Park. You're near Round Rock.
Yeah.
Should we get Charlie to help with this?
No, Charlie, I'm gonna just.
He's like, I'm a comedian. I handle these all the
Got
time.
him.
There we go. All right. Yeah, but I was gonna say Austin has the biggest bat colony, but Round Rock, there's like a small bridge in Round Rock that also has the second biggest bat colony.
So why is this only something in Austin? Because basically what it is, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But at sundown, the bats like return to under the bridge.
They leave the bridge at sundown.
Oh, they leave on it, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're out all night. So I grew up in Round Rock, and like one of the things we used to do was we would go outside after the bats are out, and you can hear them chirping. I mean, you might be able to hear them at your house actually too, just chirping outside. And
bats chirp?
They do. It's like a really tiny, like high pitched, just sonar sound, but it's not like a bird chirp. It's just really like clicky almost.
Yeah.
And if you hear them chirping around, you can throw tennis balls in the air and they'll pick them up on their sonar and they'll chase them.
Really?
So as kids, we used to just throw them up and like watch them spiral down, and then they'd get mad and they realized it wasn't a bug or something.
Now, can these bats attack you?
I mean, they could in theory. I don't think they're going to. It was like an annual tradition at school for them to let out like a bat notice. There would be like a dead bat on campus somewhere, and they'd be like, "No one touch it!" And of course, all the students are like, "Where's the bat?"
Yeah, of course.
I want to go find it.
Because at that time, the problem was rabies, right?
Yeah, totally. If they find one like on the ground at the school, especially if it's still alive, they're like, "Oh shit, this bat has rabies," you know?
Yeah.
So they're like always like would put like cages around it until they could get animal control out and stuff.
Austin, bats and barbecue, man.
Bats and
I can't
barbecue,
wait.
yeah.
No, I haven't really experienced too much of Austin yet, but I'm always open to like hear. When I came here, I came to South by Southwest twice for films I had here.
Yeah.
And I would go to like undercover bars in people's houses.
Oh my gosh, so
and
many
that struck me
speakeasies.
as really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So they still have them.
There's still a couple. There's some people that I know in town that run a couple.
I just need to be cool enough to know those people.
I'll let you know after the podcast. I'm not going to name drop because they definitely are speakeasies.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's definitely a thing.
This podcast is brought to you by MSW Nutrition. You know those frilly looking cocktails we're always drinking on the show? That is from them. That is their Boost product. And MSW Nutrition is a supplement line designed to help support your body in as many ways as possible, starting with the liver. Liver health is really important, and a lot of people don't know this, but by helping to repair liver health, you're supporting your body's biggest detox organ so that it can do its job taking care of the rest of you. I always like to talk about this as if it's like an air filter. You got your air filter for your AC unit. Once that gets dirty, yeah, it kind of still works, but you need to change it out every once in a while, or at least clean it. The liver is the same way. Once you start detoxifying the liver, it makes weight loss, hormone balance, all those health goals be a ton easier. So really, really cool that they start by targeting the liver. There's all sorts of supplements by MSW Nutrition. They've got some for mood, stress, energy, weight loss, gut health, immunity, and other things like anti-aging, all the stuff that you want. It's probably on there. Any product carrying the MSW Nutrition label will be produced in FDA certified labs, and it will contain the most bioavailable version of those nutrients possible. That's the other thing a lot of people don't think about with their supplements is there's several different forms of any different nutrient. And a lot of supplement companies cut corners by producing the cheapest one, which usually is absorbed by the body the least. So MSW Nutrition makes sure that they are using the one that your body will absorb the best. So make sure to check out their website at mswnutrition.com to see all the latest stacks to help you reach whatever your health goals are. And if you make sure to use the code DETALKS, that is DETALKS, at checkout, you can save 15% on anything you buy. That is code DETALKS, DETALKS. And you're going to love it. Also want to give a shout out to MSW Health Lounge in Westlake Hills, Texas. That is on the west side of Austin. They are the guys that let us use their How Do You Health studios for our podcast, and they hook us up quite literally with vitamin IVs anytime myself or a guest wants one. These guys follow the same principles as MSW Nutrition, as you can probably tell. They started the supplement line, and they're amazing. They know so much shit about nutrition and health in general. If you are looking for vitamin IVs of top quality, and quite honestly, the cheapest around, check out MSW Health Lounge in Westlake Hills, Texas, and let them know I sent you. DeTalks is produced and sponsored by Big Laugh Comedy. Big Laugh Comedy is changing the world one comedy experience at a time. Big Laugh Comedy is the first ever company that provides you with a complete comedy experience, from live shows throughout Texas in Austin, San Antonio, San Marcos, and Fort Worth, to comedy news and everything in between. If you're looking to laugh your ass off with some of the best comedians in the world, or you want to know what your favorite comedian is up to, you need to visit Big Laugh Comedy at blcomedy.com. Get exclusive content and first dibs on tickets by becoming a VIP for free. Go to blcomedy.com/VIP-list.
Austin just has that, like, even if it's not at someone's house, like I knew of one pre-COVID at least that was like at a company, like at a regular bar, and it was just one that like everyone knew in the industry. Once everything was closed by 3, you could just go over there and drink until 7 or whatever.
It's basically like Pabst Blue Ribbons from a fridge.
Yeah.
So it's not like that fancy. You pay like $10 for it. Like, oh, I'm so cool right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably in like a constructed warehouse that's half finished.
Yeah. Now, are you from Austin?
Round Rock. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't really hear the accent.
I can do it for sure. I had one when I was little.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you want me to slip into it, I can go pretty Texan, you know.
All right, I like it.
But I said this the other day. I caught myself saying fixin' to. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm fixing to go do that, and then I was like, shit, I was there. It came back.
That's a good one. I love that. People love that. There's certain things, because I'm from Virginia, so there's similar. Like,
you don't sound like it either, though.
The more mellow I get with this, the more it's going to come out.
That's what happens to me. I'm like, if I get drunk or mad, I'm going to get Texan.
Yeah. I went to school for acting, and I remember the first time we were doing Shakespeare, and I had to say following. And I was like, ing?
Ing?
Following? What the fuck is that? It's following.
Following.
Poor Helena following me. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. My theater teacher in high school got so mad at me because I kept saying sure. She was like, it's sure. And then I would say
sure.
Insurance instead of insurance.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, it's insurance, Allison. And I was like, insurance.
God, I hate that. Like liquid use. When I went to school, I learned about liquid use in acting, like Judy.
Judy.
It's duty. Like a poop. Duty. Suit. It's not suit.
You're like, this is basically British English at this point.
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
So you have like a lot of performance experience.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's an understatement, but like, can we start with college, I guess, since you mentioned that already? You went
So college, I was a founding member of a hip hop dance company
Oh my gosh.
called Body Hype.
Okay.
Because I was a professional breakdancer back in like 6th grade. I started making money breakdancing.
Holy shit.
I'm dating myself, but there used to be like dance competitions at Chuck E. Cheese.
What?
Yeah.
They were like for kids that were not 10.
In like the late 80s. Yeah, there's Chuck E. Cheese. It was called Teen Night at Chuck E. Cheese, and it was like $100. Sometimes it was $200 if you
oh wow.
won.
Yeah.
And so my nickname was Kid Flex with 2 X's, and my group is called Shake and Break. So I was a break
love
dancer,
that.
and it's actually really cool because I did it 7th, 8th, 9th grade. And then I realized that the parachute pants and the fat laces weren't getting me laid or dates. I mean, I wasn't getting laid at all. Kiss, nothing.
You're like I was in middle school.
So I was like, maybe I should get into Bruce Springsteen, classic rock. So I got out of the breakdancing phase and tried to just be like a normal guy who liked Bon Jovi.
Right.
And then, but then later in life, it just came back. You know,
Yeah.
when I'm in college, I started dancing. Then I became like a go-go dancer. I was a go-go dancer in New York and D.C.
Wow.
That helped pay my way through college. You know what I mean?
That's so awesome. Like you figured
Yeah.
out ways really early on to make money at that shit.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. You can actually be. This is what I'll say to any young guys watching right now: just learn to dance.
Honestly.
Really. I mean, if you can sing and play guitar, even better. But if you can dance, I mean, that's a closer right there.
That's so
for sure,
good. I
you
mean,
know?
yeah, like I love partner dance. Like
Yeah.
I did a couple of those classes in college, so I learned like all of them, right? You know, salsa, swing, waltz, two-step, any of them. Like they're so fun. And it's the best if there's a dude that knows how to keep the rhythm.
Yeah.
Because
You
like
can
as
lead.
because a female, you're taught you have to trust the guy to lead
Yeah.
you, but then most of the guys are just so scared to do it.
And no one really learns it anymore. And the great thing about it is you will always go to weddings your whole life.
Right.
If you know how to like swing dance and two-step or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and you're at a wedding, you're the star of the fucking wedding.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people too. Is like swing and two-step. If you know those two, you can dance to anything.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
and they're so similar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like a lot of the turns and stuff even are the same thing. It's just slightly knowing how to do the different basic step.
I mean, you're going to feel nerdy and stupid going to ballroom classes, but just do it for a couple years
Yeah,
and then go out there and like, you know, there's so many guys, there's such dorks who do it. And if you're a good looking guy and you're straight, it's like, ugh. And that was another thing when I was like in college taking up dance is I was an engineer in college.
I was gonna ask about that. I definitely pulled up your bio and I was like, is this for real that he's an aerospace engineer degree? Like,
Yeah.
that's real.
So
Wow.
I was like, how am I going to meet girls? And my brother's girlfriend was like, hey, take like an acting and dance class.
Yeah.
And I'd read an article about John Malkovich. He got in acting because he just like stalked this woman around registration day at his college. And so I took an acting class and dancing was like because like so I went to Princeton and I was like the affirmative action because I grew up poor and like no one from my school was going to Princeton.
Gotcha.
But there was like a lot of like pushback from articles in Washington Post about the fact that like Princeton was being elitist and not letting in people who get good grades. So I think an article came out. They're like, "Oh fuck, we'll let this fucking dude
We'll
in."
let this guy in.
That wasn't great, but yeah. So I didn't have money. I didn't have legacy. When people say, "What does your dad do?" I didn't realize what they meant is like,
Right.
"Oh, you're from Virginia. Are you from the Jack Daniels, Virginia? Like, what is
Right.
like? What's your dad do? He's an engineer for the government. I don't know."
Yeah.
So that was my only way to actually have any woman at Princeton look at me. There's also like 60% men or 70,
Yeah.
and they're all fucking hot and 6'2" and play
And they're all from
lacrosse.
rich families.
They're all from rich New York
Yeah.
families, and they wear polo shirts. And I'm wearing like striped pants from 555 Soul, which is like a hip hop company. Yeah, I was called a wannabe,
Just because you liked
like a wigger, basically.
dancing.
Like,
Yeah.
I was a
Okay.
wigger.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
That's wild. So you were interested in like dance and performance to some degree growing up, but then you went and got your master's in acting, right?
Yeah, because
What
I was.
caused that switch
Well,
from engineering to
I know it was like, you know, if you do what you love, follow your passion. I just wasn't that good an engineer.
Okay.
If I was really good at being an engineer, I probably would have done that. But I just
So you
wasn't
really loved
smart
it.
enough. I wasn't smart enough to be an engineer.
But
Like
you liked it.
engineering?
Yeah.
Nah.
No, okay.
I mean, I liked the problem solving, and I definitely have like an engineering kind of like on the spectrum Asperger's mind. But like I interviewed at NASA before I interviewed for graduate school for acting,
yeah.
and it was just like a bunch of nerds sitting at cubicles working on toothpaste and zero gravity. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that what I want to do with my life?
Yeah.
They're like, look, we have a track. People can go run around the track in the courtyard. I'm like, so you sit at a cubicle, you look at a toothpaste tube, and then you run laps?
Yeah.
Fuck this.
This is the workplace benefit is I have
Yeah.
to go do cardio.
And then they were recruiting a lot of people into Wall Street at that time because this is, late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and I just, meet with these people at Goldman Sachs, and they're like, why do you want to be part of eventually, one interview, I was like, I don't know.
I need money.
I just, yeah,
I need a
this is already
job.
a good job. I got a fucking briefcase.
Yeah.
I got to use it. And then I got into acting school, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the interviews and all that shit just kind of wore on you, and you're like, screw it, I'm an actor now.
I've just never been good at faking it. I couldn't I couldn't pretend that I cared about making money. I wish I cared about making money.
Right.
With this, I still, to this day, I wish I cared about making money. People are like, hey, we're doing a movie. You want to be in it? I'm like, you don't have to pay me. Sure. People, you fucking idiot. Yeah, no, I just don't really. Even when I do stand-up gigs, sometimes I'll just take whatever.
Yeah. I
So,
love it. I love it when you, sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I love it when you were like, yeah, I just don't like faking it. So I went to acting school. Because, like, that's the thing that people don't realize, though, is like actors, they're faking it, but they're not, like, I don't know what methods you were taught in
Yeah.
school, but it's like everyone thinks that actors or good actors are like always fake and on and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in reality, at least my experience in acting school, I just did it for undergrad, but like they kind of break you. They make you really understand who you are. And like you need to understand the human condition. And as dramatic as that sounds, like there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And you need to understand human psychology and humanity at a whole other level than anyone would really expect from someone who's playing a fake person.
Yeah.
I
think there's a difference between faking it and pretending. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if I can really delineate it. But basically, like, to me, when you're acting, you're still yourself in this imaginary circumstance.
Yeah.
So you still want to bring whatever humanity or compassion or anger, empathy, whatever it is, into the role.
Yeah.
I always think, like, you always got to bring, whatever you're doing, you got to bring love into the role.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing Adolf Hitler, bring
Yep.
your love of hating the Jews into the role. You know what I mean? You got to
Yeah.
bring your whatever your passion is into
Yeah.
it, and we all have it for something.
Totally.
So sometimes you have to put that passion about something else into this other role. And it's always
Yeah.
hard by the way, it's always been hard for me to act in roles where I don't feel connected to the part either.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I
I mean, that's called like an as if,
Yeah,
they call it an as if. It's funny that you brought up the Hitler example because literally my first day of acting one freshman year of college, we sat down and the professor walks in and he was like, everyone's just been cast as Adolf Hitler and you don't think you're evil. How do you do it?
Of course.
And then, all of us freshmen were like mind blown. But it teaches you a good lesson of perspective because no one does something thinking I'm evil, therefore I do this. It's like, no, I'm right, therefore I do this.
Yeah, no one's like twisting the handlebar mustache like in the Dudley
Yeah.
Do-Right. Like I
Yeah.
got the girl tied up to the railroad tracks.
That's how you make a cartoon villain.
Yeah, exactly.
The scary ones are the real ones.
And realizing that I think is a good thing just for today's time because I was one of those people who was always taught to believe and bred to believe, not by my family, which is very Republican, but once I was at Princeton and I was trying to get laid, it is, Republicans were evil.
Yeah.
Of course, everything about being pro-life was evil. Everything about being anti-drugs was evil. Everything that was like sexist, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that is still what I mostly believe.
Right.
But I also kind of get the perspective. It's only been the past few years where I kind of get. I think I said that on stage the other night that maybe Charlie was recording. I said, I had COVID because I did have COVID.
Yeah.
I said, and the weird thing, it like affected my heart. It made it like a little more Republican. And it just kind of has,
Yeah.
like my dad, this I say this on stage, it's true. My dad's a Trump supporter, my brother's a cop, and my mom's name is Karen. So it's the honky hat trick. And and my dad is also one of the best humans I've ever known in my life.
Yeah.
Like in my entire life. He's such a fucking great man.
Yeah.
But he watches Tucker Carlson
Yeah.
and Hannity, and I'm kind of like, So
Yeah.
you could be amazing. And the thing is, you find out, then you hang out with Democrats, and like there's some Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein were Democrats. Like everyone's
Right.
an asshole.
Yeah.
Everyone's full of shit.
Right.
So just try to have common sense. But it's a weird time to have common sense now. It can backfire.
People get mad at common sense.
They do.
It's so strange because I've said the joke before that like I don't think when I first started trying to do comedy, I thought I wasn't going to be good because I don't have strong angry opinions on a lot of things. Like I do clearly,
Yeah.
but I don't get angry about them, and I genuinely like want to hear someone's perspective if they disagree with me.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like, if you have a civil conversation, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, if I were in your shoes, I would feel that way too. And maybe I still disagree with you, but like, we just had a conversation and we both learned something, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, that's so rare
Yeah.
today. Like, no one wants to stop and listen. They just want to shout why they're correct.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
And I had that come up because I was in LA during COVID and during Black Lives Matter. And of course, I went to marches and I support. But then you see these women with their like $400 Gucci pants with torn jeans, and they're living in their 1-bedroom apartment that daddy pays for in Beverly Hills, wearing
Right.
their, toting their signs like, fry cops like bacon. I'm like, no.
Right.
Don't fry cops like bacon. That's fucking stupid. What is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Me and my friend Destiny Lelaine, we joke about this sometimes. She's like, yeah, I'm so sick of these like family funded communists. She's like, it's all the richest people you
Yeah.
meet in every city that like thinks
Yeah.
that communism's the best. And she's like, I don't care if you believe in that, but like, honey, your parents are paying for everything. Do you realize that that's not why you were able to have this apartment?
Yeah, it's like there's, and you're of this generation because you're Generation Z, right?
Nah, barely millennial. I'm 26.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm on
So,
the edge.
because it's like this generation, I think your generation wasn't beaten with a
Yeah,
stick or a
That's
belt.
true.
Or a,
Some of them in Texas still were. Some of my friends
Yeah.
definitely had to pick their switch, but
and I think it's good to like encourage your children and love your children and teach them that they're right. But I think it's happening too much.
yeah.
So now these kids are like 17, and you'll see tweets like, well, you know, Abe Lincoln was okay, but just because, like, what?
Yeah.
What are you judging Abe Lincoln for?
Right. Oh, we got Gary in the house.
Hey,
What's
Gary.
up?
How you doing, man?
Yeah. And it's funny with the Abe Lincoln thing too, because the other side, the Republicans, are like, well, Abe Lincoln founded the Republican Party.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, everyone's just full of shit, and I just hate the
yeah.
fact that people feel like they have to pick a side.
Yeah.
Pick a side, but also know that you're full of shit.
Yeah. And it's you're such a victim of circumstance and
Yeah.
situation and environment. Like your upbringing affects how you feel when you're a young adult, and then once you're a young adult and you're really thinking for yourself, you're still affected by your environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if I were living still in Round Rock, I might feel differently about things than I do because I live in Austin now, and that's very close together. You
yes,
know,
of course.
and that's just something people don't realize a lot. It's
Yeah,
like
if-
whatever
if-
you're surrounded by is what influences
If
your
you're
thoughts.
urban, you're going to be usually more Democrat. If
Right.
you're rural, you're going to be more Republican.
Right.
It just makes sense.
yeah.
Doesn't mean like you move into a ranch, you get more evil.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
It's just like you perceive
just-
it differently.
You move to a ranch, you want less Mexicans invading you. That's all.
Like, I got to protect this land now.
I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't agree, but I get it. You just have to get things.
Yeah.
I think as long as you can look at a point of view and go, all right.
I get it. I see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's honestly all it takes is like
Yeah.
the basic understanding is humanity. We can disagree as much as we want, but as long as we have a mutual understanding that we're all looking out for our best interest,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, we could get a lot further.
It'll never happen, but
One can hope. Maybe if these podcast listeners start a movement, that's what it'll be. We'll see. But yeah, so you get to, where did you go to grad school?
NYU.
NYU.
Yeah.
And you finished grad school, and what did you do like when you first graduated?
My
What did
first
you-
job was a Broadway play with Sigourney Weaver.
Hell yeah.
She saw me in something. She said, "Hey, I want you to do this play," and I said, "Cool." And then we went to dinner one time, and I hit on her like a fucking asshole.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. She's so much older, but I was just like, how cool would it be if I fucked Sigourney
She's
Weaver?
awesome. I like having this live studio
Yo,
audience.
I fucked Ripley, you know? And I hit on her, and then she was like, check, please. And then I never hung out with her again. And she was like, I want to be your mentor. Jessica Tandy was my mentor. I want to help you through the business. And I was
Yeah.
like, cool. And I got drunk. I was like, so what do you think about like sexual potential? And
Oh no.
so bad.
Did you still get to do the play though?
Yeah, she didn't fire me for the play.
Good.
Oh God, so stupid. But you know, if I went back and like did a do-over on all my stupid decisions, I would never go back. You ever think about like if I could just go back to this one moment and then I go, but then I have to go back to that. You know, I might as well just be reincarnated at this
Yeah.
point.
Let's just do a reset on all of this.
Yeah,
Give me
yeah,
the
yeah.
same opportunities again.
So yeah, it was the first thing and then the next thing I did a big off-Broadway play that ran for 2 years, and I was just like I was like a New York
That's awesome.
theater nerd. I couldn't sing, so that like they're always trying to get me to do Rent
Do
and shit like that, and I
musicals,
just
yeah.
couldn't fucking sing. I wish I could.
Yeah.
And then I got into comedy because after several years of doing a lot of new plays,
Right.
where I like to be involved in helping write them and never get any credit. Which is
Totally,
what
I've done
happens.
that before. Yeah.
And then and one play was like it was shortlisted for the Pulitzer, and I co-wrote it, and I get credit. But I just got sick of the fact that like playwrights would treat you as like a prop as an actor, and would go, hey, what about this side? Like, Bill, you're just an actor. Just do the lines. I'm like, the lines actually aren't fucking perfect, dipshit.
Yeah.
And I don't think that playwrights, you're taught in grad school that playwrights like divinely shit their words from the asshole of Krishna, and that
Right.
you just catch the drippings on it. You're so lucky to catch it on your page. But everything could be, and then you end up like doing more work, and then you realize that the people who are the best at what they do are people like Lin-Manuel Miranda. You know what I mean?
They're
Who
also performers.
Everything that he did with Hamilton and the Heights is completely collaborative.
Yeah.
He had everyone, and you just have to be able to feel that. Like I did a play, it was about, my last play I did, maybe the last play I'll ever do, was about Rudolph and Nureyev. And I'm pretty method this way because I don't like to fake it. So I was just like, everything about, I lost like 25 pounds. I was like chain smoking. I was like, just being a fucking asshole diva because I was method acting.
You was method acting. It was okay.
But the play just wasn't making that much sense to me, a lot of the lines he had. So the playwright, and I kept asking for changes.
Right.
The director kept changing the play, and then the playwright flew in from like Chicago because he heard about this.
Right.
And we went at it. He goes, you know what? I don't like to listen to actors give me feedback. I go, you know who does? Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Right.
Motherfucker. Like, you're in Chicago, an assistant professor. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I learned early on too, is like the best playwrights are people who have acted before.
Yeah.
Because they understand that like it might sound beautiful or look amazing on the page, but as soon as someone says it, it can jumble every single time, or it doesn't make sense to be spoken. And then you alter it like that, you know? That's why Shakespeare was so great. He's considered a playwright for the actors. He would also be in the plays.
For sure.
And he had to make it so that it was made sense. And, you look at a lot of his plays and they also kind of have stage directions in them, even if they don't really have any in there. It's like the things that you're indicating in the monologues kind of create the stage directions for you.
Yeah. I think if you're a secure writer or director or whatever it is, you can just allow your actors to kind of give opinions without getting butthurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go, I like it or I don't like it. It's like Ty McHale, who directed Hamilton and directed me in something. He was the same way. I did a Broadway play with him, and he would like listen to me and then sometimes tell me no or yes.
Yeah.
He would be like, how dare you, you lowly actor. So that's how I got into comedy, because I just felt like I'm smart.
I'm sick of being told what to do for everything.
So I got drunk one night. A friend dragged me to an open mic. It was back in the day. You put like literally like a name in a hat.
Yep.
And it was 3 minutes. I think even like my first time, like, there's agents out there.
What?
And I was like, it's okay, man. I've never done comedy before. I haven't prepped, but like, I'm funny. I'm a performer.
I'm going to do it.
I used to be a go-go dancer at the Limelight in Manhattan. So I went up on stage, and I think I was a little influenced by the Dane Cook, by the Dane Cook movement. So I think it was kicking imaginary doors and moving my head like a snake and doing just shit like that, just without any jokes.
Right.
And completely bombed.
Right.
And it made me realize, like, first of all, the first thing is like, wow, bombing isn't that bad.
It's not that bad. I mean, it probably also, coming from acting, you're used to people not making like that. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
you don't need the
you've done
instant
so many
feedback.
dramatic like things that you don't necessarily rely on the audience to laugh after you do something on stage.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, they just didn't.
Yeah, some chubby chick with her arms folded is giving me the hairy eyeball. Who cares?
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna have coffee with her. I don't give a shit. So I bombed. So first of all, it wasn't that bad, and number two, I didn't want to bomb again.
Right.
So then I did like the Eminem 8 Mile. Got in front of the mirror with the microphone. Like,
Started practicing.
What if I did my snake move like this? What about that? And yeah, the first few years, Bill Burr talked about this one time. He said when you start comedy, you go in there for one reason. You have a thing that you want to do, a way you want to express yourself. And then you're told by agents, by Just for Laughs, Jeff Singer, that dipshit, all these people, like, fuck him. But I have stories about that guy. Anyway, so
we can gossip in a minute if you want. You can finish this.
He's never gonna let me end anyway. So you got to do this. You can't do this. You can't, and then you go, okay. And then you try to like fit into this mold that either Hollywood wants or that you think people want or the industry wants. And then eventually you kind of like go back to the initial things that you loved about doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a guy who wanted to do physical comedy and do act outs and then people are like, well, act outs are hacky. And I'm just like, well, I like doing them.
And they work for me.
Yeah. And
they
if
work.
you think they're hacky, then don't watch my set, but
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. So that's what matters,
That's the thing too, is like, you're never gonna, not everyone is gonna like you ever, especially once you get into a performance of some sort. So it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
you may as well do what you like, and the people who like that style will come for it, and the
Yeah.
other ones can just not buy your tickets.
I think it's also good to go through those moments where you try to like fit into a mold that
Yeah.
you think the industry wants. Or I mean, comedy's such a weird thing too, because when I was coming up in comedy, I guess I started like 2005, 2006. You just want to get the TV spot,
Right.
because that's all there was. There was no YouTube.
Yeah.
There was no Facebook. There was nothing. So all you wanted was like, I could get on the Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
Now it's the Joe Rogan podcast, but then it was
Right.
the Tonight Show. So you had to work your clean 5.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing ever organic about working a clean 5 for me.
Right.
First of all, I'm not clean. I don't have a clean mind. I mean, I can do clean jokes, obviously. And second of all, like when you do a TV set, there's nothing organic about it. It's like you're
Right.
hitting a tape recorder. There's no interaction with the audience. There's no feedback from the audience. So it's what you see when stand-ups are on TV has nothing to do with the actual world of stand-up comedy and what
Yeah.
exists on the stage,
Yeah.
where there's like an organic relationship between you and the people
And you
watching.
can interact with them, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So it just that never really worked for me, because I liked doing dumb shit and going into the audience and molesting people a little bit and yeah. So but now it's like, now you get older. Like, it doesn't matter for me. It's always been fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I eke out a living doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm past the point where I'm like, well, this is what I have to do to get my pilot. I
Right.
need my pilot. Oh, whatever.
Like, I just want to do it now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just want to do it and not get canceled.
Well,
Or maybe
that's
get
tough enough
canceled,
on
because
itself.
you know what? Hey, some people get canceled and they blow up
Skyrocket.
after getting canceled.
Yeah.
Ironically,
That's true. So that's so interesting. Like, did you notice from moving, like, were you still acting when you were doing stand up? Like, did those
Yeah.
coincide a lot?
yeah,
When I first tried stand up, I was just blown away that anyone could go do an open mic. Like, it was one of those things where any performance I've ever done, you have to audition. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to be given permission to go on the stage. And so it was like a mind fuck for me when I just showed up to a place and they're like, yeah, you want to go up? And I was like, yeah, was that like an adjustment period? Did it feel like you were suddenly like, oh shit, I found a thing that like I can just go do it now? Like, I can just decide I want to go on stage tonight? And like, did that encourage creativity for you? And
yeah. I don't know. I kind of for me it was so different from acting, because it was about no rules.
Yeah.
And acting was about, you had to, I was on soap opera for years, and soap opera is like, hit this X, say this about this person fucking that person, and then hit this X,
right.
and then give a weird look, and then hit, it's like so choreographed.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times you do plays and you have directors who just like micromanage the blockings and
Totally.
the words and everything else. So so comedy was like, just do whatever the hell you want. And I think there was something that was really cool about that, and also very sloppy. But
Yeah.
it's fun. I would like take off my pants and do all sorts of like dumb shit that I look back now, I'm like, oh, maybe that was all fun. But it was fun, and it helped me have, learn what I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it probably, like, did you feel like you learned more about yourself through that too? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I should be better about like excavating the heart of darkness in my stand-up comedy. I like being silly. Sometimes I look back, I go, you keep thinking as a comic that each year you get better and you get
Right.
deeper and more
Right.
grounded, more real and more authentic. But I don't know if that's true.
You're like, I just got goofier.
Yeah, I think maybe, and sometimes you do, and then sometimes I look back at sets like that are like 10 years old. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be abysmal. I'm like, wow, I was better then.
Oh no.
What the fuck is going on? Because
What
I
am I
didn't
up to?
care. There was something about like, I think just having the confidence of not caring and the confidence of like self-expression
Yeah.
is way more important than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if you're having fun on stage, as you know, as anyone knows, if
Yeah.
you're having fun, you can do 20 minutes without telling a fucking joke and kill.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Because the audience, you get the audience in there with you.
Yeah.
You just get them in the same vibe, and it's like, all right, we're all just here having fun.
Yeah.
Let's
Now,
fuck
if you're
around.
faking it when you're up there, like people have the fake laugh, I'm like,
Right.
you're not really laughing at your own joke, you're faking it. But some
Yeah.
people are really tickled pink by what they say.
Right.
And I'm all for it.
It's great. Sorry to pause this. Can you roll your little roller down to the bottom right there? You are the fastest person. Yeah. So
What'd I
this
do?
little-
Oh,
this little thing right here that you have, there's a green, this There's a little green roller on it on one
yeah.
side. Just roll it all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
I'll text someone to come get it. That is the fastest anyone has ever gotten that done. You really are a pro at that.
Yeah.
Can y'all come get Bill's IV? Shawnee's gonna come in here and be like,
Not
"Yo,
to brag, guys.
not to brag, chugged it, huh?" Yeah, if you can go get someone, I just texted him, but yeah, Gary to the rescue. So when you started doing TV and film, like, how did you make like how does that even work? You went from stage stuff, like, were you also trying to get on?
Well, yeah,
TV?
I it's so weird when people ask me about agents. I had an agent coming out of grad school because NYU they place you kind of right away.
Yeah, they do a lot of showcases.
So
right? Yeah.
So I just had agents right away, and you go in for auditions, and it's weird too because I know this isn't necessarily about acting, but your job as an actress to audition, really.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's really to audition on camera.
Well, one of my friends used to say, when I told him I had a theater degree, he's like, "You're majoring in waiting, tables and waiting to get a yes."
That's depressing.
It's like, great, thanks, dude.
But audition, so it bums out because it took me years to kind of learn that.
Yeah.
Like, you can do all the Chekhov and Shakespeare and whatever the fuck it is you want, but until you know how to audition and do a self-tape, audition in front of the camera, how not to be nervous, how to go into a room with confidence, then it doesn't really matter if you can say Russian names and 3 seagulls, you know what I mean?
All right, we got Aaron here unplugging this for Bill, the top IV sucker of the show so far.
Pretty good, huh, Aaron?
I'm only like halfway through. Oh yeah, she's gonna tear that. Oh wow, you're a champ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hold it with that hand. I'm only halfway through my IV. That was so fast.
You took it down.
I know.
I want another one.
He's like, round 2, let's go.
Well, you know, in LA, I used to get them like once, I don't know, like once every few weeks.
Yeah.
But now that I'm here, I didn't even realize they had them.
Yeah, MSW Vitamin Lounge. Shout out to our guys letting us use the space. Yeah, they always feel so good. You were talking. Were you saying you thought you were dehydrated today too?
Yes.
That might have been part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
Because I keep knowing they have to drink water, and they just don't do it. You know, it's one of those things. I should drink water, and let me put that in the back pocket.
Yep.
I'll get to it next week.
Text me when you're ready, Allison.
Thanks. Did you like TV and film work once you started getting into it? Because it's so different than theater. Like, I don't think people realize that most of the time.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I've never really had like a TV career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never been a series regular. I had a couple of recurrings and stuff, but
Yeah.
I've never had like a real career, you know, like a lot of my friends have. So I don't know really what that entails. I do know that when I do guest stars, like I had a guest star in SWAT that came out next week. You can catch it streaming, beep. But like, you know, I played like a trucker against trafficking, against like sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Which is a real group of people.
Yeah.
So I researched it. I donated money to it. I like thought a lot about it.
Yeah.
I chain smoked thinking about it. And then you do the scene, and I'm in like a big rig, and I pick this girl up. I try to save her, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a gunfight. And that's a whole day of doing that, or half a day. And you commit, and you care, and you try to put your physical body into it, your emotional body into it, and then it's on the episode, and it's a 10-second scene.
Ugh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the worst.
And I'll admit this now. The second scene was in I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
The character got like shot, and he's in the hospital. And I had these scenes with the 2 lead SWAT people, not Shamar Moore. The other two was lady and this guy. And I don't know why I did this, but I took mushrooms. I was just like, you know what? Let me just shroom.
Oh my God.
Let me just maybe we should tell CBS this, but I was shrooming in that scene. And the way I looked at it,
You're like, this is basically morphine.
yeah, I'm like, I'm hooked up to an IV. I've been shot. I'm on drugs.
Right.
And my experience, by the way, I didn't do like 5 fucking
You didn't do a heroic
caps.
dose.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I did like 2 caps, 2 stems. I'm a big
This
boy.
is like
so
2
it's fine.
grams, 3 grams.
It's fine, but they were small.
There was okay.
So I wasn't like, it was like right before you start seeing shit.
Right.
It's like things are just opening, and your
Right.
heart is opening, but you're not seeing like dinosaurs or anything. So and I'm telling you, I was like, what if and I just kept, because I was on this hospital bed, I just kind of kept taking little bits. I got to tell you, I haven't seen that scene yet.
Oh no.
But I guarantee you it was fucking great.
Your eyes
and
are just
I was
dilated.
so word perfect. I've never been more word perfect in my life. I was like, blah, blah, blah. They were actually looking at me. The guys were like, Jesus, this guy's fucking on point. They're like with their little sides, and I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe I'm mumbling the whole time, but I felt like I was on it.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, that would make sense though. Like, have you ever seen a picture of someone who's on, like a brain scan of someone who's on mushrooms versus not? If you're not, there's like certain areas in the brain that are lit up because you use them a lot, and then when you're on mushrooms, the whole brain is lit up.
Oh,
so that's why they're legalizing it for like therapeutic use, because it just lights all of the places that you don't use anymore and basically allows you to like reconnect different things.
Yeah, that's my new acting school, the mushroom acting school, man.
The mushroom
Psilocybin
method.
acting. I love it.
The mushroom method.
Because and they had so much drama because they had another shoot they had to do. They only had a half hour. They had to drive to this place. They were, oh God, can we just finish up this fucking scene? It's my big scene.
Right.
They're like, can we just get through this fucking scene? And I'm like, all right. And so this one girl who was doing it, she was like, she kept fucking her lines. I'm looking at her going like, I love you. You're not really an actress, are you? You're just a hot model who got into this role.
Oh.
But I just loved her. I'm not going to name her name.
I just love everyone.
I just love everyone.
Yeah.
And by then, the guy, they like apologized to me for being dicks. And then the head writer came up and said, you were great. Thank you for putting up with this. I was like, mushroom every time I'm on TV now.
Yeah, right. Makes them a lot more bearable. And
because also, if you're working, like, for example, a friend of mine who works constantly, Garrett Dillahunt, who's in Army of the Dead right now, great actor, theater guy, Newman, New York. He's always on set.
yeah.
90% of the time, you're doing nothing.
Right. You're just sitting waiting for them
Even
to
if you're
reset.
nonstop working, you're literally just in a trailer
Yeah.
or on a chair.
Yeah. Getting made up or, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to, like, whatever you do, if you're an actor, you have to have something else that's like, I think it's different with comedy, because comedy, you can always be writing.
Yeah.
You can always be just either writing jokes or writing thoughts or whatever it is, or working out jokes or talking with friends about jokes. But as an actor, you know, Garrett's not on trailer talking about, what do you think about these zombies? What do you know,
Right.
you're just fucking
Yeah.
punch in. So you have to like take up knitting or fucking something.
Gotta have
Crosswords.
a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But comedy, that can be your hobby.
Right.
You could just live just on comedy, watching it, doing it, you know, thinking it.
Yeah. Especially if you're starting out with comedy. Like if you're not writing or working with someone on your writing, like you can be figuring out how to edit audio or video or like share jokes that you don't want to, you know, for me at least, I usually just post jokes on social media that I don't want to do anymore. And so it's like, okay, here, how do I caption this? Great. And then you can like learn how to do that stuff and get your stuff out there.
Yeah. I used to do that on Twitter. I used to use Twitter as a way to test out if a joke was good.
Right.
But then I got too like enrolled in all the fucking Twitter drama.
Oh my God.
So I just got off Twitter.
Twitter's
Can't do it.
so
I feel so much
annoying.
happier now that I'm not on Twitter.
You're smart. I'm still on there and it's a mess.
You just go on and then you'll just see a tweet. If you're a cop, you're a piece of shit. I'm like, like this one guy from Sex and City, this bald guy, I don't know, a big actor. He was like, these motherfuckers who aren't getting the vaccine, they're ruining the country. Fuck them. They should all go to hell or something really aggressive. And I said, are you talking to black people? Is that what you're doing? Because this is kind of sounding a little racist right here.
Right.
I didn't mean, I understand why. I understand why. You know what? Fuck you. And he blocked me.
Dude, it's my favorite when a big account blocks someone. Like when Trump would block random 500 people accounts, you know, it's just like this person's got 20 followers and Trump would get so mad and block them. It's just like, bro.
Yeah,
it's
Bill
Twitter.
Cosby blocked me. That felt good.
Oh my God. How did you get Bill Cosby to block you?
Well, here's the thing about let me tell you about Bill Cosby. I knew that Bill
You're gonna
Cosby.
kill Gary with
I knew
these
that Bill
stories.
Cosby was a rapist for 20 years.
It sounds like a lot of people had some inclination.
So I was dating a girl who her older sister was an extra on the Cosby Show, and they were like, this is in Manhattan, so they're like New York girls. They're like smart girls. Her dad was like a big actor with Cassavetes, and he said, I want to help you, like tutor you in acting, mentor you, come to my place in Squirrel Hill. And she's 17.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This girl. I mean, Michelle Hurd's her name. She talked about it. And she goes down there and he's like, you know, doing lines with her and asking her if she wants tea and shit like this. she had curly hair. She was half white, half black. And he goes, you know what? Why don't you take a shower and I want to see what you look like with straight hair. Here's a robe. And she's smart enough to go, that sounds weird.
That's creepy.
That you want me to take a shower.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, you know what? I got to go. And she left.
Yeah.
And she told this to like another extra that she was working with. She said, stay away from him. There's something fucking off about that guy. I don't know what it is. And the extra was like, really? And then sure enough, like a week later, he had come to her, the friend. And then the friend came back and was like weeks later, like a ghost. And something had happened. She never knew. But Michelle had talked about it. So Michelle talked about this early on during the Cosby, and people just fucking went after her.
Right.
And she was like, look, she's a successful actress. She's on a series. She's like, I don't need 15 minutes of fame. She's married to Garrett Dillahunt, right? She's like, I don't need the fame. I don't need the money. It never happened to me. I saw it.
Right.
There was weird shit going on. I know this. I want to support these women. And people fucking death threats, paparazzi in the fucking bushes. You know how hard it was to take down Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
So I wrote a blog about it, which I has since probably deleted because it was like it was called In Defense of Offensive Materials for Punchline Magazine. Mm-hmm. And I talked about how just because you do offensive material doesn't mean you're an offensive person. Some of the people who are the cleanest comics are the biggest piece of shit, like Bill Cosby, who was a rapist. So I wrote that down, and like everyone was like, "You gotta you're gonna get sued. You're gonna be blackballed." It's like, "Oh no, but I know it's true. I know it's true." I was like, fuck, I took it down, and then 2 years later, Hannibal Buress blows up because he talks about it. I was like, I should have stuck with my guns.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's wild.
So anyway, I tweeted something. I think I was retweeting Michelle or defending Michelle, and sure enough, he blocked me.
And he blocked you from a retweet.
Yeah.
Damn. That's it's crazy like to think about someone like that who was so famous and had so many people liking him. Like, are there still people who were on his side at this point?
It took like 50 people
to like claim that he did
finally
something.
I mean, think about like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Try to defend.
That one's still divisive.
Guys, try to defend Michael Jackson on Twitter just for fun. Just try.
Right.
Just say, or not defend him. Just try to like actually say that he's guilty. Go on Twitter, say, I think maybe Michael Jackson did touch boys inappropriately, and watch the deluge of hate and death threats that come your way.
I mean, I follow mostly comedians at this point on Twitter, so like my feed leans pretty liberal most of the time because of that. But people forget that like, if your Twitter feed is mostly conservative or mostly liberal, you forget that the other side is just as insane as all the people you're seeing on the side you're with, you know? So it's just like, it's crazy. If you were to tweet that about Michael Jackson, I'm sure just so many like conservatives and like, I don't know who
conservatives. I think it's like,
not even a
huge
conservative liberal
contingency in England.
Oh, really?
I think people are literally being paid to troll Twitter and find anything that's anti-Michael Jackson and just attack them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy because like British people are usually the first to be like, Americans suck. Let's take down this celebrity, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. But I got attacked by so many. It was after that Leaving Neverland documentary came out.
Okay, yeah.
This is the thing I've learned after all the Me Too stuff, and I've been indirectly kind of affiliated with people who have been accused of it. I have not been myself, but like the thing that I learned is that if someone's going to come forward and accuse a man of something, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are 1,000% accurate in what they're saying.
Right.
But they're doing it because they believe it's right.
Right.
And it's eating at them, and they're 1,000% not doing it for fame.
Right.
No one is coming forward and say, I was molested by this comic.
Right.
Because I want a TV show.
Yeah.
That's fucking horseshit.
That's not how it works.
That's when Harvey Weinstein, like, oh, you just want to do that because you want fame, and those other comics, I'm not mentioning, you do it because you want fame. Bill Cosby. It's like, no one is. It's so difficult for women to admit that they've been molested or raped.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it publicly. It doesn't make you look cool.
And you don't want to get famous for being the woman who was touched. You
so I've talked to enough women who have come forward, and even as a guy who put my name in an article, basically saying like I believe these women. It was like the amount of shit that came at me indirectly for just saying like, hey, these women, I believe these women.
Yeah,
was unbelievable, and then you'd hear that these women like they were crying every night. they felt like their careers and lives were ruined, that they wanted public about it.
Right.
And then you see in the press like, well, she just wants her fame. You fucking dipshits.
Yeah, no way.
And I'm a guy.
Right.
Like, I got a cock and balls. Like, I understand what guys are about.
Right.
But at the same time, like, let's not be a bunch of fucking assholes and just, like, double down on these dicks that are raping, molesting women either.
Totally.
You know?
And there's like, oh shit, what was I going to say? There's like the people that, you know, the women don't want to be known as that. Like they don't want that to be their claim to fame, which is not fame. It's just your name's in the paper a lot because you're accusing someone who's famous. But it's also like, I'm lucky enough to never have had that happen to me, but people that I know, a lot of the times the only reason that actually convinces them to come out in public about it is because they don't want it to happen to other people.
Yeah.
Like they are so scared by that person that they're like, shit, this person could do it again. And I don't want someone else to be dealing with the shit that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And so when you put it into that perspective too, it's like, oh, that's actually like a really helpful thing that these people are trying to do. And the media is just slandering it by being like, oh, she wants to be famous. It's like, no, she just doesn't want other women to wake up crying in the middle of the night.
And again, like I did this bit before Bill Burr. I was like, you know, it shouldn't be believe all women. It should be believe most women.
True, because there are some that
some
jump
cunts.
on it.
There are some cunts.
There's some cunts.
I have from first-hand experience with cunts.
Yeah.
And not necessarily cunts that will go be like, oh, he fucking did this to me, but like they just are liars and crazy and bipolar. Who else?
Right.
Who else? So you should believe most women.
Right.
Most of the time.
Right.
But yeah, it's just so crazy that everything has to be completely polarized, like either one or the other, and there's no middle ground. I think that this is good though, because I think that men have to be better with women, and that might mean getting laid less, which is fine. Just get laid less, guys.
Just get laid less.
Don't be. If you being less aggressive means you get laid a little bit less, go jerk off in your virtual porn. It's fine. You'll
Just
be
get your sex robot. You'll be fine.
When are they coming?
Oh man. Damn. How do I transition from that? Jesus
I know, there
Christ.
we go. Once you bring up rape and molestation, where do you go?
Talking about the army, I guess.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was another thing because I used to do shows for the USO.
That's
and
what I was
Army.
going to ask you about anyway. Yeah, like
And
you traveled all
and
over.
they're like, listen, when I went to Kuwait, and they're like, you got to be G-rated in Kuwait.
Yeah.
So what do you talk about? Like food, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, what are you talking about? Well, clothes are weird. And then they go, but once you get to Baghdad, you can do whatever the fuck you want. They see dead babies every day, so do whatever the fuck you want. Just make them
Right.
laugh. And I did a joke about I called it the Nestle knockout, and the joke was about being with like a Puerto Rican girl who was like saying, "Oh, you like that Puerto Rican pussy? You like that Puerto Rican pussy?" True story. And I was like, what does that mean? Is that it's like a spicy brand of vagina? Does that the whole thing like does Asian pussy? I don't know. I forget what I did.
Came
It was
up
an old
with a
joke.
bunch of, yeah.
And then I said, first of all, and then she said, do me behind, pull my hair, do all that shit those white bitches won't let you do. I'm like, what, pay for dinner? I don't know what white bitches don't let you do. They're the craziest women I've ever met. The whiter, the crazier. Last time was with the black girl. I tried to put my finger around. She was like, psh, what are you doing? Oh, hell no, motherfucker. Last time I put my finger, a white girl's butt. She's like, what are you doing? Put your old fist up there, dude.
More.
Fist me and punch me in the face. Fist me and punch me. I want the Nestle knockout. Give me the Nestle knockout. Now this is 10 years ago, right?
Right.
So it's not a bit I do anymore. I'm not proud of this bit. Like, no, this is my fucking Tonight Show bit. But for that crowd of young 19-year-old kids in Baghdad,
Right.
I knew it worked. But I did the first show I did for Marines. It was like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They're holding their fucking like machine guns like this, and the head of the USO goes, this woman Tracy, she goes, it just didn't work that well.
Yeah.
And she goes, maybe don't do that bit tonight for the big show. The big show is going to be 8,000 people outside. And I go, but you said I can do anything. She goes, I would strongly suggest you don't do that bit tonight. I go, okay. So I was touring with Jamie Kennedy, and he was going. He was like, he was doing clean stuff. And this is fucking bombing. So I went up there and I said one kind of dirty joke, and they just like erupted. And I look at Jamie like, should I do the
Gotta
fucking?
do it.
And he just kind of nodded. So I did, and it fucking. It's like a much longer joke than that,
Right.
and it like destroyed.
Yes.
Right, and they were so happy. But then I was banned from the USO the next day.
Because she asked you not to do it?
She goes, I told you. I said, you suggested I didn't do it. You didn't tell me I couldn't. You just strongly suggested.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you can't come back.
It's like, but I'm the one that made him laugh.
So I guess the reason I bring that, because I guess in her mind, and this is where it comes back to, because I still did shows with armed services after that. there's so many weird gray areas about things that you can't talk about that they have to like micro adjust. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't say anything derogatory about the president or the government or the army. You can't say anything homosexual.
Yeah.
Which there goes half my accent. You can't do anything about abusing women.
Yeah.
Or assaulting women,
Right.
obviously. You can't do anything about weed.
Right.
There's maybe like a couple other things, but I had a joke about picking up women drunk.
Yeah.
It's a very physical joke. And they like, oh, you can't do that joke. I'm like, why? Because getting drunk and picking up women can lead to assault. So there's a lot of, which is true, but there's a lot of like weird gray areas that you kind of can't even come close to.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but.
Well, no, that's an interesting thing, though, because they're like, oh, yeah, you can be as raunchy as you want. They see dead babies, but don't you dare talk bad about our president.
I know, well, that's the thing. They're like, no, you can do anything except for this. Oh, and this.
And
oh,
this.
this. Oh, you can't do suicide jokes either because anything where there's a problem in the military, which is
With
obviously
it.
like homosexuality, suicide, the amount of abuse and assault that goes on in the military, it's like a big dirty secret no one wants to talk about. It's just really sad.
Yeah. I've heard about that, like with especially like women recruits and stuff, like just getting shit on all the time by the dudes and like, not treated like as equals and probably assaulted and all those things.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point. Like I was having this conversation with someone the other day, like when you say clean show, you need to be more specific than just be clean because like the woman that I open for sometimes, Jen Fulweiler, like she's super Catholic and a lot of her fans are super Catholic.
Yeah.
So, they don't want to hear you cussing. They don't want to hear anything sexual. Like I have a joke about how you should carry a tampon as self-defense and like, go a bunch of like wordplay with it. And even that, she was like, I don't think you should do that because it's referencing menstruating and like they don't want to talk about it. But
Wow.
like all of my jokes about getting drunk or like anything related to alcohol, she's like, yeah, Catholics are alcoholics. Go for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? That's worse than the tampon joke. That's a self-defense joke, not a tampon joke,
I know, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And same thing. You could do getting drunk, but you can't do a joke about weed. Which is,
Weed.
by the way, weed is such a better drug than
I know.
alcohol.
I'm such a better
Are
person.
we getting
if I smoke
around? Are we
weed.
getting around the corner on that? Has America accepted the fact that alcohol is terrible and weed's awesome?
Well, I was just telling you, like, anytime I go to a state that I'm not familiar with, I look up the weed laws because I'm like, can I go buy some,
Yeah.
And it seems like most states, it's at least decriminalized now. I mean, Deep South, no. Texas.
Yeah, what the fuck's up with Texas?
Austin area, it's decriminalized. Like Travis
Oh, it
County,
is?
it's decriminalized.
So if I'm smoking a joint on the street, they'll give me like a fine?
or they'll just like tell you to
They'll
put
be
it
like,
out.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in Austin, actually, you can have like a decent amount on you and like they're just like, okay, just like don't smoke it in public sort of thing. But the rest of Texas, it's still just illegal, But yeah, it seems like most states are at least decriminalized, but a lot of them are medical now. Like we were talking even Utah and I think Florida also recently are medically legal.
Because you never hear stories like, oh, I got so stoned and I beat the hell out of my girlfriend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
God, I wish I remember who did this. There was someone that was doing a late night spot at the Comedy Store last time I was there, like right before COVID. And he had this whole joke comparing, like, I wish liquor stores were like weed stores because you walk into a weed store and they're like, oh, yeah, do you want like a creative high or do you want to like rest in the evening? Like, how can I help you with the strain? He's like, if you walked into a liquor store, it would be like, do you want to rage with your bros or beat your wife tonight? Like, it's so much worse.
Yeah. No, I think that it's so crazy. Things get like entrenched in American culture and they just became like de rigueur, like normalized and no one ever questions it for years and years.
Right.
Just because of like one propaganda ad against weed, like Reefer Madness in the 20s.
Yeah.
Because when I grew up, I was like, oh my God, weed is so bad.
So bad.
People who do weed are like awful communist hippies and they, like Reefer Madness, the guy's like,
and they're for sure going to smoke heroin right after they have weed for the
exactly.
first time.
And meanwhile, everyone in my family died from fucking alcohol poisoning by age like 40.
I know. I'm like, all of my grandparents either died from that or like lung cancer because they smoked tobacco.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we need to get
Oh,
this
America.
together. Get it together, America. When you were traveling with the Army or the USO, like, what were some of your favorite places to go to?
Like in America, I mean, going to the Middle East is just so fuck. We went to Baghdad's, Saddam Hussein's like palaces,
Holy shit.
which are fucking crazy.
I'm sure.
And there's so much about them that you don't know if it's apocryphal or if it's actually true about the stories.
Yeah.
For example, there's this one elevator that was brass. It was a brass elevator. and you walk by it, and there was like a shape like this on where the elevator opens. There's a shape like this,
Yeah.
like a dark kind of red, like around, and you get closer. It's fingerprints, because apparently they would take prisoners downstairs to beat them and interrogate them and kill them, and it was the hands of the people. That's why it was like less up here and more in the middle.
That were trying to like
trying
not
to
be
get
pulled
out.
down. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
And then you look up close and you see the fingerprints, and it just felt like, oh, this is where the brothers would go down and torture and kill people.
Wow.
On a lighter note, they had a moat. They had a moat around his palace too that had fish that they apparently, and I don't know if this is true either, they genetically engineered these fish.
Yeah.
They have these diamond-shaped gills to eat people as well. Like they were like giant piranha hybrids that would like eat people.
That's the lighter note.
It was like aquarium of the dead.
Holy shit.
But yeah, and you'd see pictures of people holding, and then they'd have weird things like, he was a huge fan of the Flintstones. So there's like a Flintstone village right attached to the base where his kids would play, and like literally see like Barney Rubble's house.
That's so
and Fred's
creepy.
house and all these like little, and like, hey, look at the cool little, hey kids, look at the little houses as we kill this fucking dissident.
How did you even get in there to see all that?
Well, because we'd already kicked his fucking ass, and then
So
we
it
were,
was
and
ours
so
now.
America, it's like it's ours now. So they made they had vending machines and gift shops, and they turned it into like a complete like a complete touristy place, and they would love to show us around. This is where they kill these people. This is where we do this.
God.
And it was beautiful. It was also very chintzy and weird, and everyone would take pictures on this giant chair, like his throne. He'd take pictures on it, like, hey, selfie. That was
a good
cool.
promo pic.
But basically, the cool thing was just like hanging out with like the troops there and the fobs, and like, no, because these people would never, they wouldn't get to meet anyone.
Yeah.
They have no connection to the outside world.
Right.
So when you get to show there and you're from America and you're doing comedy, they appreciate it in ways that I don't think that we can really fully understand. You know what I mean?
It's just, I don't think Americans understand how much of a melting pot we have here. Like, yeah, Americans are kind of dumb and we have our own culture for sure, but we have so many different types of people here, and Europe too, like, because the countries are all so close. Like, you forget what it's like to be in a more homogenous society of like everyone kind of has the same religion, they all have the same language, they all look similar, like different, like similar qualities, right? Like, we forget that, like, if you're used to that all the time and someone from someone else comes and visits, that's actually a big deal. And it's like, oh shit, especially America has such prominence in media. Like, to someone who's watched American TV or movies their whole life but never actually met someone from America, it's probably just a mind fuck.
Oh, for sure.
Because their only information is from those channels. So they probably are like, oh, what's Greek life in college like? And it's just, it's a whole different thing. Yeah.
When I did festival in New Zealand, and when I went there, I did some jokes that involved like race issues in America.
Right.
And I thought, are these going to work in New Zealand? But of course it is, because all they know about race is what they watch on TV.
Right.
So anything that like caters to that, they're like, that's so good. He said that joke about that.
Yeah. That was a good New Zealander accent, Kiwi accent. That's what
I always just try to do like, was it Reese from Flay the Conchords?
Oh God.
Brit, Jermaine?
Love that show.
That was the best.
Yeah. I just love when they say snicks instead of snacks. You want some snicks?
You want some snicks? Love it.
Yep. Yeah, I think like a lot of English speaking countries outside of America are actually better versed in some of our race issues than us.
Oh yeah.
Because they think it's so ridiculous. Like, they have racial tensions. I'm sure it's just different. Like, I haven't traveled nearly as much as you, but like in Italy, for example, like there's basically no racism except they really hate the people coming straight from Africa to sell stuff. And like the Italians are brutal to them.
Oh, of course.
But if you're a black person from America, they love you. Yeah. And it's so weird. Like, people, like, every place picks and chooses what they want to like and dislike for no apparent reason.
Well, people don't realize that we're all tribalists.
Yeah.
Like, at heart, people just genetically, we want to be in tribes.
It's a primal thing.
And that goes across race, religion, culture, whatever. Look at Africa. Look at all the warring in Africa. I mean, is that racism? It's tribalism, right? So I think that racism, unfortunately, becomes the easiest way to make tribalism happen.
Right.
And to feel like content in your tribe.
Yeah.
But I think in America, it's so much better than anywhere else, almost anywhere else in the world.
Because they're talking about it now too, I guess.
Because people are like, well, it's not that way in England. There's 4% black people in England.
Right.
Okay, so they don't really have to think about it. You know what I mean? The fact that we're at this place where we're talking is good. It's all good. It's coming to the surface. I know a lot of black people say, well, it's gotten worse, but you cannot. My first girlfriend was black, and I'm telling you, like, that was like in the early 90s, and like the shit that we heard and see and the way people, I don't think that would exist now.
Yeah. Or there's no way. Because I mean, I think people think it's worse just because we hear about it more now.
Yeah.
There's so many there's so many ways to get information, and also so many people will blow up, like, not unrightfully, but they will post about a fairly minor thing that would have been considered minor in the early 90s.
Yeah.
You know, like someone looked at me funny when I walked into the store, and I think it's because I was black. Like,
yeah,
that's not okay. But like, 20 years ago, it probably would have been way worse.
And also just like, I know, and I do a joke about this too, about how people say Nazis are on the rise in America. I'm like, shut up with the Nazis are on the rise shit. It's not true. And the joke is basically like, I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. No one's ever come up to me. Hello, would you like to hear more about the organization? Like, it's never happened. But when I was a kid growing up, there were Klan marches in D.C. like every year,
and they were allowed,
and there were a lot of people at them, a lot of Klan members. And it was just a thing that happened in like the 80s in D.C. And can you imagine that happening now?
No way.
Of course not.
Hell no.
So it is getting better. And I think that people have to like at least acknowledge that, because if you don't acknowledge it, you're just trying to like foment more fear and anger and hatred. And
right.
If we all just try to be more kind and more loving, it'll be fine. But people, the sense of justice and the hate, I get it, but like ultimately, like, it's not gonna fucking help.
Right. Especially, I mean, we're two white people talking about this, but it's like,
but that's okay.
But that's okay.
White people can talk about it.
But what I'm trying to say is, like, the white people that get offended for other people is kind of an issue with it too, because it's like, I mean, you probably see it all the time at comedy. Like,
absolutely, because I do a lot of urban rooms. Yeah.
I will watch a black comedian go on stage and make jokes about black people, and the white people tense up, and then like the black people in the audience are losing their shit because it's so funny.
Yeah.
And then the comedian has to make the point to the white people, like, "Hey, it's okay. I'm saying this. They're laughing.
Yes.
Calm down." That
was like so my high school, T.C. Williams, Remember the Titans, the movie. It was 70% black and 30% terrified. That's a joke I do, and by the way, it's a joke, but also like it's pretty true. Like, it was you were, as a white guy in a school like that, we would get held after for drive-by shootings.
Oh shit!
We couldn't have night football games because of riots. It was like a pretty rough school. So also a great school, and like I played on the football team. They were great. Everyone was awesome, but like it was an interesting sort of like a melting pot. By the way, but the best reaction I would ever get, if I could get a black girl, be like, "You stupid."
Right.
It like made my day.
Right.
So then when I started doing like chocolate sundaes in urban rooms in like New York and LA, I would just go right into I would do the most like racially charged, maybe hacky stereotype, but just like jokes that I thought were funny and have fun. I would make fun of like this thing and all, and they would love it. They're like, "Look at this fucker." Sometimes they'd be like, "Wait a sec, all right, motherfucker." But they knew it wasn't coming from a bad place. It was coming from a place of experience. It wasn't. But then when I was at Princeton, if I would make any joke that involved anything about a race, they were like, "You fucking," I'm like, "You went to fucking Dalton, you cunt. You don't know you've never met a black person. Go fuck yourself." You know what I mean? Oh, I got worked up a little bit.
We found the pedestal that you like to, the soapbox that you like to stand on. Oh, great.
Yeah, but even back then, even back in the 90s, it was like people were getting offended on behalf of minorities.
Okay, we're getting a signal to stop the podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I wanted to get into some of the
5 minutes.
They're like,
I think they meant 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah, I know. But
okay,
I'm
sorry.
taking that as a signal to stop because I know how much I can talk. Because I did have a couple more questions for you. Just like,
go on.
Let's do it. What are you working on right now?
Actually, I'm going to be doing a movie in New Orleans about the Boston busing crisis in the 70s.
Oh shit!
So this is another like race-related issue.
Yeah.
Which is great because I've been researching it and reading about it, and I played the bus driver who drives the black kids to Southie High from Dorchester to Southie High. So I got to work on my fucking Boston accent
Boston accent.
Because like people from Boston, they're such fucking dicks, and if you don't do it like right, you never hear that.
What are you doing, dude?
Yeah,
I
so
can't
I gotta
do the
fucking.
accent,
I'm gonna
just
like
call everyone dude.
I'm gonna watch Sea in the Hill every fucking day. Just kind of Maybe listen to Bill Burr a lot and just get a little bit of that, going.
That's great.
And then then I'm headlining Vegas, June 20th through the 24th in Vegas, Laugh Factory, the Tropicana.
Hell yeah.
It's good to be back there headlining, yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate how much you like to research your roles when you go into it. Because, like, there's researching, like, within the context of looking at the script and figuring out who this character is, but then actually going in and, like, doing the extra work of, like...
Well, isn't that a cool thing?
You
That's
get
the
to
best
learn
thing
about
acting.
shit.
Like, there was buzzing in Virginia, but I didn't know how bad the busing crisis was in Boston. Like, it was such a huge fucking... I'm talking about things getting better. I mean, oh, my God.
Yeah.
What was going on in 74 with the buzzing crisis in Boston was insane.
Was that, like, just because of the segregation, or was it, like...
Yeah, it was basically Roxbury was the black neighborhood and Southie was the white neighborhood, and they were busing the black kids and vice versa.
Right.
And just hearing these these documentaries, these old Southie people, like, these fucking, we don't have anything against blacks, but we don't want them in a fucking neighborhood.
Right.
Really? What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, you just contradicted yourself.
We love the black, we just don't want them in a school.
Right. And they've got, like, a 70s Boston accent, too.
Oh, it's
Why
so
did everyone
bad.
in the 70s sound a little different than now? Like, our accent keeps changing.
I know, because Boston, like Southie in the 70s, it was still, like, closer to the old Irish immigrant accent. So there's a little bit of this going on there, too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where they say a t sound instead of th. What you doing with that,
We're still with that, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Last question that I like to ask everyone is, what are you excited about?
Oh, my God. What am I excited about?
I'm always putting everyone on the spot with this one.
Wow. I guess I'm just excited about always just doing new shit,
Yeah.
I just like new shit. I like new opportunity, like changing myself. I'm excited about coming up with new material and changing as a person so that my material can, like, change with me, because sometimes you get in ruts as a comic where you're just doing jokes like, wow, I've been doing this joke for 6 fucking years now.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that. I would like to do a special. I've got lots of offers for specials over the years. Not Netflix, so I've always said no. And now I feel stupid because I should, because once you do a special, then you can just let it go. Like, goodbye, I'll never see you again joke.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I have some opportunities for that. So we'll see. And yeah, just hopefully just new opportunities and new shit, and
Hell yeah.
and hopefully getting more NAD drips so I never age.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to have you in Austin. It's been cool. I've seen you on a couple of the lineups at Big Laugh and stuff. So it was cool to, like, sit down and talk to you. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up. So
Cool.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Allison.
Guys, this is DeTalks with Allison, brought to you by MSW Vitamin Lounge and MSW Nutrition. You can use the code DETALKS, DeTalks, at checkout at mswnutrition.com to get some of these lovely drinks. And yeah, till next time.
I just got the play on words, DeTalks.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm an idiot.
Bill Dawes, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.